Big old box of bullets, but none of them fit my gun. Spring in the seat of my Model T, done stabbed me in the bum. Got caught jerking off while visiting my mom.
My goodness.
Family dog done bit me, gave me rabies and lockjaw. I'm up shit creek.
I'm up shit creek.
Without a paddle.
Without a paddle.
I lost the war. But I won the battle. My treasure's lost.
Where'd it go?
My money's spent.
Someone took my money.
My baby's gone.
Oh, yeah, so
she up and went. I'm on a one-legged horse without a saddle. I'm up shit creek without a paddle. My lady's pregnant, but the baby isn't mine. And pictures of my dad's new girl look an awful lot like mine. Knives didn't shake and stink, my clothes are torn and old. Spent 6 hours in a bread line, but all I got was mo. I'm up shit creek.
I'm up shit creek.
Without a paddle.
Without a paddle.
I lost the war. But I won the battle. My treasure's lost.
Where'd it go?
My money's spent.
Who the fuck took my money?
My baby's gone.
Oh, yeah, so
She up and went. I'm on a one-legged horse without a saddle. I'm up shit creek without a paddle. I'm on a one-legged horse without a saddle. I'm up shit creek without a paddle.
9-year-old Tokyo pimp
Brian Albert Jr.
is back with an all-new hotspot that answers the question.
Well?
This place
The Waterfall Bar and Grill.
has everything. Geeks, Sherpas, a Jamaican nurse wearing a shower cap.
Bukkake.
PB and jelly sandwiches.
Sneezing.
Energy forces.
A Russian man on a prepaid cell phone. Guys with afros. And look over there in the corner. Is that Mick Jagger? An albino that looks like Susan Powder. Germs.
Germs?
German Smurfs. Of course. And just when you think the fun is over, knock, knock, who's there? It's Black George Washington. And anyone can get in. There's no password. At the door, just do the Cosby face.
The Cosby face?
Yeah, If you want fun, then listen to this. Nightlife designer Tranny Griffith is back with an all-new club that answers the question.
This is funny, Ms. Reed?
And inside, it's just sick. Ice sculptures, winos, you'll see twinks, gypsies, puppets in disguise, a Teddy Ruxpin wearing mascara, human squatty potties. It's that thing of when you sit on the toilet. Giant 300-pound baby, and he spins records with his little ravioli hands. Based on the novel Push by Sapphire. If that's not enough for you, you can hit the dance floor with a human fanny pack. Inspired by true events. If you're well-to-do and you just gotta hunt humans. No. If you're looking to just get murdered. If you're drunk and handsome, doing cheap coke off your laundry card. If you're Irish or just white and violent, I know just the place for you. Built in the upside.
You know what? I'm going to do something I haven't done before, and I'm going to pause in the middle of this video. I've done it before for other videos, but I'm pausing on Stefan for maybe the first time because I never pause on the Stefan one. I like to let it go. But I want to do a little commentary on this part because so rarely in life do we get to talk about the editing process. Hello, kids. How are you doing today? Listen, it was so hard to pick out which fighting pictures to use for Colin because there are so many. Did you know that? This kid loves to film himself getting his ass kicked. Like, I was thinking about that the other day when I was watching this for the 50th time while I was preparing an episode for you guys. I was like, man, I remember that's people, a couple of people have asked me, like, are these real? Like, how do you are you using AI to get Stefan to say these things? These are real. Like, they just happen to line up perfectly with the white trash lifestyle that these folks live. The parties that he talks about just happen to be perfect for describing Canton, specifically the McAlberts, especially the white and violent part. Like that, I couldn't. The whole drunk Irish, white, violent. This is something Stefan references pretty frequently in almost every appearance. And it's really crazy how many pictures of Colin fighting there are. So I started looking up, like, not what's the VIG on this, but what's the record? You know what I mean? What's his win-loss ratio? And I started reading all the gossip about it. It seems like he has lost. In fact, not it seems. It has been confirmed by quite a few people. He loses every fight. Like, he gets in so many, he loses all of them. And then he posts video and picture. Like that one where he's hitting that kid, the first one on the left, that's like the only one where he's actually getting in on someone, but then he got his ass kicked. So, like, why is he doing this? Because not all of them are put out by the others. Like, one or two are put out by him. Like, is it is he trying to do jackass? Like, what is he doing? He's like, watch me get my ass kicked. It's just so wild to me. He probably does sucker punches, says Darlene. Oh my God, Darlene, I love you so much. Welcome, welcome, welcome. White and violent. I have a false memory, Wendy. It is a great short. I mean, and it's not even me. It's all Stefan. Like, I didn't do shit. I just clipped it. Clipped it. But he, like, all credit goes to Stefan, all of it. But also to Colin for getting his ass kicked repeatedly so that we can have this short. It really trips me out. Like, who does that? If I'm getting my ass beat, I mean, if I could pull the video, the security footage from me getting my ass beat, I was thinking about it. Like, would I post it? Well, yeah, because I got away and I got some punches in myself and it was 4-on-1. Like, I feel pretty good about those odds and how it came out. You know, yeah, I got a fucked up eye. Shorty will tell you it's fake, but I have a fucked up eye from it. Metal plate in my face, no big deal. But, like, I got away and I also, like, kicked one or two of their asses. I kicked the girls and I got one guy real good. I fucking broke his fucking nose. But these bitches are beating his ass, like, relentlessly. He never wins. There's nothing to be proud of about this. Yet still he allows it on the internet. It's just bad life decisions. It really is. It's just, I feel like these people were born in the wrong state. I feel like they belong here in Texas. I don't want them here, but I feel like they should have been born in Texas, Florida, or Oklahoma. I don't understand how they migrated that far north naturally prior to Colin being born. It's just so odd. Anyway, I just wanted to pop in and say that. You believe in Joe Hendry's shorts? Oh, excellent. Yeah, this is Colin fighting, and he loses. And by the way, I had 6 fighting videos and pictures to choose from. He should have stopped at one. Why are there so many? Why? Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. We'll let this finish, and then I'll tell you guys some shit that's going on around here that's pretty funny. We'll do a little news, some more sillies, and then we're going to get into the subject matter. We're going to continue our discussion on Katie Janness. I love you all. Enjoy.
I know just the place for you. Built in the upside-down world, this bi-curious beach party is the creation of
Ryan Albert Jr.
This place has everything. Charts, graphs, PowerPoint. A guy who still thinks Jamba Juice is good for you. You want culture and you want it now. I've got the place for you. This hate speech haven is a creation of
decorated dudes
located in
back out front, but in front of Asian house.
As you walk in, you'll be handed a glass of champagne. Or is it piss? This place is gonna have everything. Ghosts, ghouls, goblins.
Little grab ass.
My son. A woman with nowhere to turn. A wise old turtle. And you'll have your own When Harry Met Sally moment when you share a special kiss with Gizblo, the coked up gremlin. They've got a special display of Jewish fireworks.
What are Jewish fireworks?
For the kids, there's a special workshop where you can build a bear, but not the kind you think.
It's like a bear hug or something.
So come by this weekend and check out a VIP section filled with turtlenecks.
Oh, sorry. Do you mean turtlenecks?
No. Turtlenecks, it's a thing when like fat guys have a beard, but only on their chin roll.
But Stefan, for people who want culture, like regular culture, like theater, where can they go?
For that, try blindfolded theater group Shakespeare in the Dark. This year, they're performing the Scottish play.
Macbeth?
No, Jackbeth.
Okay.
And don't worry about security because it's guarded by an army of hobo cops.
All right, I do want to pause it before we get into too many sillies, okay? Before we start this is just good advice. Thank you, Found Footage Fest, again. I will link them below. Also, I did not put any of the links in my video last night or the night before, and I apologize. I'm getting on it tonight. I swear to Christ. I swear to Hugin. It will happen tonight. I just started making my list, and I got very distracted. That's my bad. And I guess many of you have self-diagnosed me with ADHD, and to you, I say, what? Really? And maybe you're right. I don't know. I just forget. So I get distracted and I forget. So I will get that done tonight. Hello, Craig Perkins. Des sent you. Welcome. Everybody say welcome to Craig. Be nice to Craig. Don't hurt Craig. Don't hurt Craig. Craig, you're going to meet a lot of feral individuals in here. Most of them talk like male sailors from the 1960s, but they are women from the now. So I am sorry. I almost said sorry, Craig. Hello, Craig. Welcome, brother Craig, to the cult. You are indoctrinated now. Welcome to Scientology, brother. Just kidding. So, question to you guys. Let's do some housekeeping before we start. Okay. Do you want Jinko Biloba shirts? Now, I can't get you Jinkos that say Biloba on the ass. I did check. It's not possible, and they won't do a sponsorship with us. But what about shirts that say Jinko Biloba and I incorporate Jinkos into them? What do you think of that? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Yes, please, says EB. Okay. Motion 1 to the select board, BORED. We have one person who said yay. We need to get 3/3 of the vote. So we need 2 more people to say yay before I will add it to the store. Do we have anybody going to back up Ernie? Anybody going to back up Ernie on a Jinko JNCO Biloba shirt? We got a second from kind of sort of. Jinkos are the jeans that are extremely baggy, Wendy. They look like 2 skirts, 1 on each leg, but boys wear them sometimes. They can hide weapons in them. It's very scary. Angela says yes. Okay, so we have a third. We're all in favor. And we say, okay, excellent. That means we got it. All right, so those will be in the store tonight. Now, I do have something exciting to show you. I will show it to you in a minute. It's okay, Tish. You don't have to get it. I will explain it later, but it is something that Trashy Kids did in the 90s, i.e. something I did in the 90s. So that will be in the store soon. Motion is passed, and you are all now Scientologists. Okay. I've got 2 things I want to bring up to you. One of them is something I discovered. I cannot play it for you. I wish I could, but they could absolutely copyright strike me, and I don't know if they are nice or not. But I would like to encourage you guys to look up something I saw. I know a lot of you guys drink. I can't drink. I'm very allergic to it. I get hives, and I just don't like the taste. But I know that a lot of you guys like to drink, and if you do, I discovered something that made me wish I was an alcoholic, because I would probably enjoy it a lot. I missed the boat on my opportunity to both become an alcoholic and to go see this live. It is an ICP thing, kind of, Wendy. Yes, it is. Kind of, a little bit. It's half ICP. They really did embrace the Jinko culture. WrestleMania copy struck you? Absolutely, they will, turd. You know that. You know you can't put wrestling in anything. Vince's cronies will come and get you, even though he's no longer in charge. We still blame him for everything. So here's the thing. There is something called pub choir that exists. It made me cry in my car because they were singing Africa by Toto, and they were all drunk, and it made me very emotional. And I don't know why. But it's a lady. She was on America's Got Talent. I found that out after the fact. But it's a lady who's a choir director who goes around the world to bars, gets all the drunk people together, and teaches them how to sing in a group choir. And it's called pub choir. And they do a tour, and you can go to this shit live, and you can be a part of it. And even if you have a bad voice, she'll teach you. So what they do is there will be like 13,000 people in one video, and another it's like 100. Like, it's just whatever group they can get. Sometimes it's in a venue, sometimes it's in the actual bar, but it's literally people get wasted, they come together, they stare at the stage, and she directs them to sing a song. It is amazing. They are all over YouTube. I highly recommend checking out Pub Choir. It just looks like something that I think some of you would find very, very fun. And if you like to go out and drink and party and get a designated driver home, you should go to Pub Choir and tell me how it is, because it looks like a lot of fun. I missed it. They were just here at Antone's. I didn't get to see it, but I just thought, if you don't know that exists, go look it up tonight. It is so fun. It makes me very emotional, and I don't know why. Okay, next thing on the agenda, the Liver King. Do you guys remember that guy? You remember him? He's the guy who only ate bloody meat all the time, and he did it like on TikTok. He got really famous for it, and IG. And he just ate raw meat like all day, all night. He's like, this is raw meat. He'd eat the blood. He didn't give a fuck. He never cooked meat. And he said that he only ate raw meat, like a reverse Jordan Peterson thing. Only ate raw meat. He looked very sunburnt and ripped and scary. And it turns out he lied about it. And they made a whole Netflix documentary about him, about how this guy was a sham. He wasn't really eating raw bloody meat. And it was all bullshit. And he lied to everybody. And everybody was like, how dare you? I ate raw bloody meat because of you. And now I have health problems. Yeah, he kept it in mason jars outside. He did. Oh, he was a nasty motherfucker. He just ate raw meat all the time, blood dripping. And he'd go, oh, he was super scary. Anyway, that guy got found to be a sham. They did a whole documentary about him. His life crumbled after that, because when you lie, you lose. And he blamed Joe Rogan for criticizing him a lot. Yeah, it's not a steak tartare kind of thing, Bubsy. He would, yuck, I like my meat dead, says Darlene. He would literally, and thank you, baby boysenberry, I appreciate that. He would literally like order bloody raw meat from the store, take it home, not cook it, and just eat it just in front of the camera. Now, at first I was like, what is this, a mukbang? But then I start watching it. It's disgusting. And I'm like, oh, this guy thinks he's living with the wolves. And I also blame Joe Rogan, that piece of shit. Anyway, he is straight up obsessed with Joe Rogan. He expected an endorsement. Joe Rogan said, how dare you, sir? Essentially, like, not in those words, but he's just like, nah, you're a fucking fraud. And because Joe Rogan wouldn't help him, I'm assuming this is why he's mad. This is what I heard, is that because Joe Rogan will not help him rebuild his reputation, he has become extremely aggressive. He moved to Austin, which scares the shit out of me. I have yet to see him, I thought, on the street. And then when I saw him recently in a video, I went, oh, that guy? Which means I have seen him, and he looks nothing like he used to look. He has gone full-blown unhoused, it seems. He is outside in cut-off sweat shorts. He looks like he aged 40 years. He is definitely on substances. And he threatened Joe Rogan's life in a video. and got arrested downtown today. And that is the news here. That is what happened here. And it is tripping me the fuck out. Like, first of all, I had no idea the Liver King was a couple of miles from me. Otherwise, I would have been hunting him because I really want to bite that guy. Not now that I've seen him and he's on a lot of drugs. I don't want to get any Fenty in my system. I'm not into that. But I have always had a fantasy of trying to bite that guy. And I don't bite people. I'm not a biter. But I just think it would be funny. I think it would be very funny to make a viral video where I walk up to the Liver King and I'm like, "You're the guy that eats raw meat." He's like, "Yeah." And then I bite him. Dylan did inform me that a guy, some famous guy bit someone on a talk show or something recently and it didn't go well. So I abandoned the plan. But when I saw him today, I was like, wow, he looks like a cooked steak. Like, he looks not delicious. He looks dirty, but he also looks like a cooked steak. Like, he looks like cooked meat. It's very Ted Bundy of me, and I didn't mean it, but I did. I really thought, like, how funny would it be to bite the raw meat guy and, like, turn the tables on him? Like, oh, how the turntables. Like, you think you could eat raw meat? Watch this shit. Like, really freak him out. Just a nibble, right? Dad's like, we don't need a lot. At first I read it as just a nipple, and I was like, but yeah, just a little. It'd be kind of funny. But then you have to consider the blood, and then you're eating a human, and that's disgusting. But it would just be funny to bite that guy. And now he's in jail, so I'm probably not going to get to do that. Anyway, Jinko Biloba shirt is a go. It will be up soon. Pub Choir, check it out. I feel like some of you little drunks in the chat might love that shit. Liver King is in jail. We don't want to free him, so we're not going to make shirts saying free him. Now I have exciting news. I will go ahead and I'm going to take down the video, which you can't see anyway, but stream it. Oh God. StreamYard is so junky now. It doesn't really, there's like different steps now than there used to be in the process of StreamYard. Now I'm going to show you something kind of cool that happened. And what pisses me off is I did this from my comedy account and I regret it. I thought I was logged into my Oblivious account on X, the true crime channel, right? But instead I was logged into my comedy account when I did this. And I'm like blasted because I feel like some of you guys would have appreciated it. I want to warn you, this is a not humble brag. I feel very badass about this. This is probably the coolest thing that's ever happened to me, like in my entire life. I am really just tripping out. I'm starstruck. I cannot believe how lucky I am. All of you should be so fucking jealous of what I'm about to show. Oh God, that's horrible. Sorry, I just saw a picture that was terrible. All of you should be fucking jealous. Fall at my feet. Check this shit out. Holy fuck. I cannot believe this happened. I can't. And this is my comedy account. So if you want to follow Versace Kalachi, you can, but you don't have to. So, nope, that's not it. That's not the right one. Let's share this instead. Here we go. So John DePetro said, why are some people so nervous and upset if police speak with juror 11? And Ian Runkle said, hey, dude, have you paid for the damage you caused to that other person's vehicle? Where's the receipts? Because he hit someone's car and broke their taillight, leaving the Karen Reed trial, which is hilarious. So under regrettably my comedy account and not my stupid fucking, no, I didn't mute myself. Am I muted? Am I muted? Because you have that happen. No, I didn't mute myself. Okay. So you guys can hear me? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay, excellent. So, yeah, he hit a car. He busted the taillight, leaving the Karen Reed trial. I thought it was fun. I just said, hey, he should try calling Morgan and Morgan. Okay. Morgan and Morgan responded with double eyes. They're like, Morgan and Morgan liked it, responded. You guys, Morgan and Morgan communicated with us. Do you know how hard it is to get them on the phone? Like, if you actually have a claim and you need to call them, which I have suggested to friends, I have called myself to try to help out a friend. Like, well, maybe you should call Morgan. But like, literally, I've helped them out by being like, hey, have you heard of this lawsuit, to friends who are like, I need this, that, and the. I'm not gonna say they're private shit, but an accident happened, and one of my friends got hit. He got hit by a magician. Sorry. I'm gonna have to have Jamie on to talk about this sometimes. A comedy magician from here in Austin smashed into him while he was backing out of his house. I'm not laughing at that. It's just comedy magician makes me laugh. If you're not the amazing Jonathan, just quit. But anyway, he got hit by a magician, and he's like, I had a personal accident and I feel injured, and I was like, call Morgan. And Morgan, I was like, you know what? Let me call him and see if I can help you out, get you a reference or something, because he's like hates being on the phone. I tried calling, they don't answer the phone and they never call you back. But if you're on Twitter and you reference them, there they are, dude. Morgan and Morgan. They saw it. They're there for the people on X. I can't believe it. This is like meeting The Rock. I don't know what to say. Getting a lawyer to respond to you is such a big fucking deal in Texas. I cannot believe it. I personally cannot believe it. With that said, Morgan and Morgan, get the fuck out of here. Don't eyes at me, Morgan and Morgan. I love them now. I will now recommend them to everybody. Yes, Turd did fuck a magician and a weatherman, right? So everyone say congratulations, Turd. Okay, so now we're going to get back to the sillies. This man is going to tell you something that I'm sure I've told you before, but in case you missed it, this is just good advice. Here you go. Enjoy.
I like cash. Cash. Get the money. Who wants to play somebody that's broke? Get the cash and pull out a big wad of cash. Play the guy that's got the cash. Just get the money. Cash. That's where it's at with me. You can have the trophies.
Introducing the Bidet Spa by Clean Butt, the new and revolutionary way to cleanse yourself after nature calls. If your lifestyle revolves around convenience and ease, then it's time to pamper your butt.
I don't worry about the kids spreading germs.
Okay. Time to break in and say this. It's not a good idea to try to sell a butt spa or a bidet, if you will, and then to use the pun and or wordplay of pamper your butt. Because when I hear pamper your butt, I think of a diaper, and that is the opposite of what they're going for. And I feel like maybe that's why Clean Butt never took off the way it was intended. Also, why is this lady looking at pictures of her shirtless son? And a jet ski. It's just weird. What a weird and fun Clean Butt concept, but it did not go over with the people. Okay. Also, you fucked a sportscaster? Wow. Did he tell you like the football scores? Well, he was I feel like Jen McCabe would have liked that, because then she wouldn't have had to butt dial. She could have just asked while he was mounting. Anyway, here you go.
Around the house because they forgot to wash their hands. I don't know how he ever lived without the Clean Butt before.
She doesn't know how they ever lived without water shooting up her asshole. Cool.
Because it allows us hands-free cleansing, we don't even need toilet paper anymore. I love it.
The most essential function of the Bidet Spa is the posterior wash. At the push of a button, the wash nozzle provides a warm and gentle aerated
Now
stream
here's
of
the problem. What if, you know what, I'm not going to say it.
fresh water to effectively clean your posterior.
It's so refreshing. I feel confident again.
For a much more thorough cleansing experience, the Bidet Spa's Enema Wash feature is specific.
Like, were all these people, here's my question, were all these people just walking around with diarrhea running down their leg at all times? Why is this something that changed their life so dramatically? Like, I get it. Like, this is an improvement and I feel refreshed, but like, this changed my life and I don't know what we were doing before it. Feels very dramatic for a bidet. Like, what, you weren't wiping, bitch? Like, wipe your ass. Like, what do you mean? Like, you just let it dry there? Did you drip dry from the back? You did it wrong. That's not how wiping works. Also, enema feels like it's going in, and I think there's a lot of marketing mistakes that were made in this one. And it really just trips me out that anyone ever fell for this. Because here's the thing, bidets are great, but the marketing is so bad. And how much water is wasted? Now, turd doesn't poop. You are poop, so you don't have to. They saved it for later. Exactly, Des, because they're making art. I wonder if you get a big, oh, Darlene. From water in the... I'm silenced. I've been silenced.
Designed to spray warm water directly through the rectum into the lower colon for the ultimate cleansing experience. At the push of a button, the bidet spa can help relieve the many discomforts associated with constipation.
The dignity I feel leaves me feeling more secure all day. I don't know how I lived before without my clean butt. Thanks, clean butt.
Before Clean Butt, this man was dead inside. He never got laid. He had no friends. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know I had an upper or a lower colon. I have a middle colon. I don't know. This is so... You were listening to Magnum Poo-I? Oh, God. That's the one about Nadav, and he doesn't work there anymore, and it makes me sad. Because he's the brown king. All he does, he's the poop king, you know? It is very European. The problem is we're Americans. We're dumb, and we're far behind. I didn't know you could get both colons, or that I had to. This is so confusing. Or is it just one and there's an upper and a lower? Like, what part are we talking about? It's a marketing failure. A failure. That man was probably not giving anyone a note. Yeah, but now he gets one in the back. This is fascinating. Well, good for Clean Butt for putting out a message of cleaner asses, but bad on them for picking 2 wordplay fails. It really bothered me that they put that out like that. But anyway, here's a few more. I have to stress, I don't know who the fuck Chad Allen is. I have never seen this video before. It popped up in my algo, and I was like, we will watch this together and react to it together, because I don't know shit about Chad Allen. But it's called The Real Chad Allen, which leads me to believe there was a fake one, and I have questions. Here we go.
Road 66.
Hi. This is where I put it all together before I go in front of the cameras. But you see my work, so I want to show you some other stuff. I went to Edmonton, up in Alberta, Canada. The West Edmonton Mall is incredible. Well, this is the indoor Edmonton Ocean. When I first saw that place, I couldn't believe it. I thought, but this is Edmonton. What is such a huge, incredible thing doing in Edmonton? I went to Edmonton for the Shining Light Celebrity Child Abuse Prevention Weekend on the land.
What is celebrity, like preventing celebrity child abuse? So kids who are celebrities getting their ass beat. What does this mean? What is in my gob? I don't know what that means. Did you misspell a word? Rephrase the question, please. Is this home base for you? Does Edmonton still have an indoor ocean? Really good water park there? Oh, I would love to see that. I had no idea. Gob is your mouth hole. Oh, what's in my mouth? Nothing. I had a cigarette a minute ago. I had no idea. I was thinking Job, like from Arrested Development. Celebrity child abuse is a choice. It absolutely is. Diddy parties maybe Craig, you just blew my mind. Was Chad Allen aware of the Diddy parties as far back as the late 90s? That's kind of crazy. Ask it again. Did Chad Allen, is he like Nostradamus? Did he predict the Diddy parties? Interesting.
Where with all this equipment, you're this blundering idiot who falls over everything. And then once I get underwater, I become this graceful dolphin. It's fantastic. We've done so many things together, and just so many just weird little things. We've started, newspapers and haunted houses and musical groups.
I like your do, Chad.
What?
Your hairdo. I like your do.
And then there's Tom Mason. Once I got to know him, he was just got to be a real great buddy. The kind of guy where you can call up and just let him talk and listen and just, not feel any worries or anything like that. And that feels real good. And
Todd Mason went on to run a hedge fund where he killed 30,000 Scottish people. Take that how you will. Now, I did lie and make that up, but who the fuck is Todd Mason? Why are we throwing new characters in? I'm still trying to learn about the real Chad Allen, and now we're bringing in other people. This is loaded. This is loaded, and he's loaded, and that is a flamingo-ass shirt. Or is it coral, or is it puce? You decide.
Talk about my favorite thing in the whole wide world. Girls. When a person meets me, it's a special thing for them. What the hell are you doing?
When a person meets me, it's a special thing for them is such a thing to say. Hello, Sassy. Nice to see you. Hello, Plum Awesome Pews. It is Plum Awesome. Question, is that fucking Donkey Lips from Salute Your Shorts? Oh my God. I saw him in HEB once. It was very sad. Also, Electric Peach. Cindy, I'll allow it. I like that. That's a good name for a color. And it does look like an electric peach. It does look like Seinfeld puffy shirt. The shirt. It's coral, says Donna Barkley. Uh-oh. You didn't find MC Cone yet on YT. He is on SoundCloud. He's very good. He's a Conehead rapper. He's our friend from Philly. He's very, very funny. When a person meets me, they are very lucky. I am going to steal that from him. Is that a Jolt shirt on Donkey Lips? I'm starstruck. And it's odd that he went to a conference for abusing celebrity kids, and there he is abusing Donkey Lips? Sir, did you learn nothing?
I told you not to come in my room! Don't yell at me! Too many people die from this, okay? Tom Cruise, I guess you could say, is kind of my hero. He's young, but he's done so many great movies. This is my rock collection.
When I tell you everything loops back to Scientology and the Denver airport, I'm not fucking around.
My friends and I started collecting rocks when we were kids, just because we were attracted to the beauty of them, but eventually it grew into something pretty special, and I say I have quite a few here. I enjoy it. This is amethyst. There's some malachite, gypsy. Every individual has his own perfect girl, but I don't think he can describe it till he meets her. Until he sees her and says, hey, that's the girl I know that will want to be with me for the rest of my life, and I want to be with her for the rest of my life. That's perfect. That's real perfect.
Okay, now this is important. You're about to see a series of dog-related videos. Wookie Johnson here from Mill Valley. This is Dog Bumpers. I just thought before we get into a heavy subject matter, you need to see some cute little fluffy waffy popies and some hoogans. Also, you will see dogs in wigs. Shots fired at whoever with that, but we're running it. We're running it. It was a decision that was made a long time ago. It's not up to me. I just like watching these dog videos from the 90s. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to get into the serious stuff. Okay. Are you ready? Here we go.
We got what you're looking for. TV20.
KTZO.
We got what you're looking for. TV20.
KTZO.
We got what you're looking for. TV20.
I'm sorry. Which dog do you identify with? Wookie Johnson from Mill Valley, Apostle from Alamo, or this little guy?
What you're looking for, TV 20.
KTZO,
my
Stereo
God.
TV 20.
All right. Now, if I had to, and Darlene knew the assignment right away. Which one are you? You're going to see a series of dogs. Which one are you? Diet Alaska. How dare you? This one would be Tombstones, without a doubt. Okay, without a doubt, this one is Tombstones, and I just want to point that out. Oops. Listen, I don't know. Ribbit, if you're watching, I know Ribbit likes to lurk in the shadows. Ribbit, if you're watching, I just have to ask, did you make this? This feels like something artsy that Ribbit would make. It pleases me very much. That is definitely Tombstones, though. That dog right there. Oh, my God. I love dogs in wigs, I think. I think I do. No! No! Oh, God. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to scare you guys. The clown thing was terrifying. The clown thing was terrifying. I didn't mean to do that to you. I do apologize for that. I really do. Dogs wearing wigs can get very intense, you guys. Okay. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to go into part 2 of Katie Janness. If you guys didn't watch part 1, Katie Janness is a young lady who was killed in Atlanta in Piedmont Park in 2021 in July, and she had a partner who found her. And it wasn't just her, it was her and her dog Bowie. Which bless him forever. Poor Bowie. It is a hard story to tell. It's a very tragic situation. And we barely touched the surface of it. Yesterday, I gave you all the news rundowns of what was reported, and we talked a little bit about the autopsy report, and we went through a couple of things that I thought were pertinent to discuss. And I told you guys how I've spoken to a lot of people who left what I would consider very good leads on the internet, and they explained how they tried to tip it in and they couldn't get a hold of anyone, and they couldn't get anyone to call them back most of the time. The ones who did speak to an agent literally left their info, and or through Crime Stoppers left their info and their name, but never got a return call. And the things that they were tipping in and reporting, they were really like important things. They were things that I would consider at least, I mean, not even just me, like when you look up what is considered a reasonable tip or lead or something to pursue in any and every handbook that is available online for Crime Stoppers, which, by the way, there are Crime Stoppers handbooks and how to manage a tip line. And also there are handbooks for what is considered a credible tip according to the DOJ, the FBI, the CIA, according to local law enforcement. Like, you can look up stuff like that. And it's really wild to me that a lot of these tips on Katie Janness's case were definitely turned in. I tried to help and couldn't get a hold of anyone. Nobody got calls back. And the people who did get in touch with a real person through those lines were only advised to leave their information. And again, no calls back. And when you see the tips and the mapping of the tips and the situation from a real person. Like, this isn't internet rumor and speculation. These are the people who witnessed it going online in Katie Janness discussion forums, on their personal Facebooks, on Instagram, saying, I tried to tip this in and I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how, because no one is listening to me. No one will call me back. And then to see these press conferences every year saying we're getting help from the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, we're getting help from the FBI, where the Atlanta police are still looking for tips. We're asking the public for help. To see that every single fucking year, and to know that they are getting tips and leads handed to them on a silver platter, and they are not calling these people back. They are not taking the leads. They are literally ignoring them. Then why are you asking for help if you're not going to take it? It drives me nuts. And I know that some people might be thinking like, y'all let the police do their job, internet detect. It's not about that. The police are asking for the public's help. They're saying, we need help. We need tips. You have people giving those tips who know Katie personally. 2 of them were really good friends of hers. One was an old roommate. All of them have very valid and reasonable reasons to be concerned and to tip in what they are tipping in. We went through some of those. I thought, let's make a map, because a lot of you guys were like, where was this tip? Where was this tip? So that's what I did today. Here we go. I'm going to show you one of the maps that I made for you to kind of put in perspective what I'm talking about. And I'm going to show you the exact tips in the posts and where they came in. I'm going to read you some of them. And then we're going to go into, we're going to see a little bit about the vigil that happened. It's like a 2-minute video. Then we're going to watch the full interview with Emma Clark, her wife at the time, her partner, and Emma's dad. Emma's dad lives nearby. He is a politician in another town. He is the definition of, wow, how lucky are you to have that dad? Not only is he badass, really into social justice, really into like communicating with his kid, but also with his kid's partner. Like, he loved Katie, and he talks about how they would have these long discussions and discourse about politics and things that they enjoyed. You could tell that Emma's just kind of like, oh, because that's how I was when my dad would want to talk to my boyfriends about politics, and it's not something that I agree with. I just be like, Jesus. So you can tell like the dynamic, you know what I mean? Like, her dad fucking loved Katie, and she fucking loved Katie. Now, when this interview happened, Emma was at her dad's house. It had happened 48 hours to 72 hours before. She'd been crying. She had a rough couple of days. She's clearly still in shock. She saw something awful. There were rumors going all over the internet about like, oh, well, was there no blood? How, like, all this shit. We're going to clear some of that up. But what's interesting is she saw something that is very brutal and traumatizing, and she spoke out online. She actively was like, she wanted to be a part of the effort to find Katie's killer, but you have to remember that she just saw something this traumatic, and it's in her neighborhood, literally walking distance, and it could have likely at the time been someone stalking Katie because of what the crime was. I'm sure police right away thought, this is personal. It's likely someone she knew. That is something that would scare the shit out of me as the partner of someone who just had something so brutal happen. So she had to get the fuck out of there. Like, and I don't blame her. And that's why in all the interviews you see her at her dad's house in a separate place. She seems to be very calm, in my opinion. I mean, I never take pills, but I probably would have had to take a Xanax or something. I don't know what you would take for that, just to not feel, but to also calm down. I don't know exactly like how she behaves all the time, but the people that I've spoken to are like, yeah, Emma's pretty lively, but she's also very chill. People who personally knew her say she's not someone that's overly emotional. She doesn't cry a lot. She's not someone that you would, you'd likely see her cry from laughing than you would see her cry. She, according to this is just opinions of people who knew her that I spoke with, but I personally did not know Emma. So I want to make that very clear. But the common theme that I got about Emma is that, I guess, you know how you have like one person in the relationship who is maybe the type of person who's I'm gonna call the customer service, I'm gonna go take care of, you know, this issue, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, hey, don't worry about it, let me handle that. Kind of like the person who's like the take charge. And then there's the person, I don't want to say submissive because it's not that, but the person who's like the more chill one. There's usually like a loud and a quiet, or you know what I mean? They're two opposites. She seems to be the not a performer. Katie is more of a performer. Katie, even though she seems very soft-spoken and very quiet, she's a social justice activist. She's comfortable public speaking. Emma seems more reserved, more introverted, and this is what I've gotten from her friends and people who know her. She is someone who is less likely to make a big fuss out of something, but also less likely to be overly emotional. And I say that because the way they treated her when this interview came out, and by they, I mean all of the internet, the collective, every comment you see, people compare her to Chris Watts. They say horrible things. Why isn't she crying? She saw something pretty fucking horrible. I think she's still traumatized, quite frankly. And I've been there. Like when, you know, when I got attacked, for probably 2 days, I don't know that I cried at all, or like I was still in this state of like, oh my God, that happened. And I made a lot of jokes about it, and people thought I wasn't taking it very seriously. I know that, or that I wasn't dealing with it, or that I wasn't going to be able to deal with it. A lot of people said like, hey, you're compartmentalizing right now, you're dissociating right now, because I was just making too many jokes. I was just like, but that's my defense mechanism. I feel like it seems to me like Emma is just kind of in a nostalgic, reflective period as she talks about Katie. And I feel like she, in my opinion, she looks very, very traumatized. And people don't think online, I guess, that that's good enough, that she should be weeping and screaming. And but if you look at every fucking comment section, it's like a long thread of look at the partner, this is personal, she did it, I don't trust her, look at how she's. It's like, God damn it, dude. It's the Karen Reed syndrome. It's the Amanda Knox syndrome. It's the this woman isn't emotional enough for us syndrome. And I hate it. So with that said, just please be kind and consider, you know, what she went through. I know you guys always are, but at the same time, it's totally okay to not agree with me. You might think, nah, this is fucking weird. That's fine. I just I really want to be careful with, like, I don't want to accuse her, because I personally don't think she had anything to do with it. So all I ask is that you don't like accuse people of doing things that you see on here until, especially if they're named or identified publicly, until we know for sure, because they still haven't caught this person. And just to be, you know, ethical. So with that said, you're going to see a little background, like a quick 2-minute video, just for anybody who missed it, to catch you up on what happened. And then you're going to see the interview with Emma's dad. This is Katie's partner's dad and her partner. This is very soon after this incident happened. This was done to put the call out and to let people know that they are actively looking for the killer, and kind of to maybe appeal to whoever might know something. It's also to honor Katie, and I appreciate that. I think that that was a great choice. You're going to get to hear a lot about her. She's we'll just get to it. She's going to tell you a lot of things. I just want you to kind of analyze it with an open mind and consider that, you know, this woman already got a lot of shit. I'll tell you right up front, the biggest thing you'll find about Emma that people get upset with is that there was a GoFundMe, and the GoFundMe was raised to help Emma because of what she's going through. I swear to you, when I say most of the comments are full-blown gray hues, they're like, what does she need a GoFundMe for? A lot of people were saying, oh, she was going to use it on prize money for tips, like Crime Stopper money. Like, you know, 20K goes to help if you have a tip that helps lead to finding who did this to Katie, right? What people don't realize is when the FBI or certain organizations put up reward money for tips, they don't often take the private funds from someone unless it's needed. And there are, believe it or not, budgets put aside for that specifically. I tried to get a billboard in Florida for a case that me and the victim's sister were working on. And we were told we don't do those because the missing persons unit specifically has an account that handles that, because it has to do with like identity of an individual who is an adult and could be voluntarily missing, even though there is a missing persons report and it is thought to be under bad circumstances. Like, you have to go through them. There are some states, some cities where there are limits on what you can put on billboards, but specifically there is a budget for that set aside by the police, and they'll do it. You just have to tell them. So I was very surprised at that. Now with Emma, they raised all this money in a GoFundMe. There was already a reward out looking for tips. I think it was like $25K. Emma had to move immediately. So what she did was she got a condo, and everybody flipped out. And it was out of the city, away from this, which I don't fucking blame her. People want to judge what she spent the money on. They want to say that's shitty, like that was supposed to be for Katie. They're not paying attention to the rules and regulations. And also, she like it's not like she is woo, everybody gets a condo. Like, it's a place for her to live because she had to leave her home all of a sudden out of fear, and because her wife was brutally murdered. And not just murdered, disfigured, like Jack the Ripper style. So like, I don't blame her for buying a condo with the money raised for her so she can move on with her life. She lived with Katie, who paid a lot of the bills with her. Like, she shared the burden of rent and things like that. This is a sudden change, and having to break a lease is a real bastard in some places. So with that said, just consider that, and, please be kind. And here we go. And I don't know why I even feel the need to tell you guys that, but to anyone in the future watching this video, just don't be a dick. You know what I mean? Okay, here we go. Let me present this. I wish StreamYard would streamline some of this bullshit because they keep tweaking it and I don't like it. All right, here we go.
The FBI is now working with Atlanta police to find the person who brutally stabbed a woman to death and killed her dog in Piedmont Park. Friends holding a vigil for Katie Janness less than 24 hours ago at the park, remembering her love for her life partner and family and her kindness to all those around her. Tonight, Joe Hankey is looking into the evidence police may be using to try to find her killer.
Atlanta police confirmed with 11 Alive the FBI is now assisting with this homicide investigation, but at this time won't provide specifics about that help. Meanwhile, a former FBI agent tells me there's several ways that they could be pitching in.
There is a monster on the loose in the city of Atlanta that no one, Katie can't be seen.
This is Emma's dad, by the way. You can tell he's great at public speaking. I think he's an asset to this investigation. He's really good at rallying the troops and getting a good point across. It's this part gets me a little emotional. This only shows a clip of it, but I watched a full part of the vigil of his speech and it was beautiful. And I get so mad when people judge. By the way, EB, this is less than 24 hours after the murder. So, and I'm going to show you where it happened in the park specifically, but it's a couple of 100 yards, or I would say even feet up this way. So right past this gate, and then you go down this trail, and then it splits off, and it's right on the left. So literally yards from where she got murdered, they're standing there, and they're having this vigil, and he's giving this really intense speech, and it's just been, like, this murder happened at something like 1 a.m, between 12:30 and 1, or 12 and 1. This is the next day, early afternoon, same area, like literally just right by where it happened. And then that's her dad already there giving a great speech, just letting people know, like, we need to figure out who the fuck did this.
FBI agent tells me there's several ways that they could be pitching in.
There is a monster on the loose in the city of Atlanta that no one, Katie can't be seen. You can't look at her. because of what they did to her.
Joe Clark, father of Katie, Janness's life partner, speaking at a vigil Thursday night, hinted at the gruesome nature of Janness's murder. Janness and dog Bowie were found stabbed to death around 1 a.m. Wednesday morning inside Piedmont Park near 10th Street. Atlanta police have released no information about their killer.
The dog died protecting Katie.
During the murder, DNA evidence was potentially left behind on the dog Bowie, according to Clark.
They shared that with me. Okay, so there is evidence out there that we hope is going to.
And by the way, you will see a lot of conspiracies about this. There are conspiracy channels who have covered this. They want to make it about BK. They want to make it about all these different people. Here's the thing. Another thing they pretty frequently say is Joe Clark said that he died protecting Katie. How would he know that? How would he know that if his daughter didn't do it? Shut the fuck up. Joe Clark is telling you what they told him, what police and the FBI told him, because it hadn't been released by the police or the FBI yet. People accused him of spreading rumors. Well, guess what came out a year later? They admitted, the police and the FBI, and they confirmed through a press conference, yes, Bowie died, he was stabbed, and he was protecting Katie. Okay? So nothing Joe is saying is a lie. He's speaking truths. And that is pretty wild to me, that people would stretch it. Like, all you have to do is watch the first vigil ever on this case and you will see it. And then you confirm it by watching the press conferences. Yet people chose to use that as an opportunity to spread a rumor. I agree, Cindy. There's something odd about it that tells me it could be hate crime, mentally ill person. Everybody keeps saying personal. I don't know that much. I don't know that is the case. I'm still on the fence about that because, again, I'm someone who got attacked and stabbed and it was not personal. And I know a lot of people, believe it or not, unfortunately, I know 3 comics who have been stabbed and it was not personal. And it was a lot. And they were the people were coming at their face just like they were coming at me. So, like, yeah, 100%, not all stabbings are personal. Enough of that. Even John Douglas himself said that that's bullshit. Like, that is not, that used to be. They've done more studies now, and it's more likely than not impersonal. If it's not in your home, if it's in public, it's most likely not personal. If it's in your home, personal. That's different. Random attacks, it could be a gang initiation, which happened pretty frequently in this park and around it. It's just odd.
This person captured.
Atlanta police, citing the still active investigation, would not comment today on any evidence in the case.
It may cause people to loosen up and provide more information.
Hero Kopis is a former FBI agent, now private investigator, living in the metro area. He says the FBI could be assisting to simply add pressure to the investigation and bring about new leads. If there is DNA evidence, the FBI could be comparing it against its national database, and it could be assisting through its nationwide network of agents.
You bring the Bureau in case you think the person has fled interstate. But for them to flee interstate, then honestly, the police must know something about the person to be able to bring that portion of the Bureau to investigate.
And Kopis tells me the
Now, this is incredible insight. This is incredible insight. And I wouldn't even say it's clearly intentional, not if it's a mentally ill person. Not if it's a mentally ill person. They could literally, my theory, if it is someone who is mentally ill, it's someone who's asleep, the dog comes to sniff, they immediately pop up and kill the dog, you know, and attack Katie or attack Katie, who's trying to get the dog away, threatens her, and then the dog attacks and then they kill the dog. I can see that. But at the same time, you know, well, not if they're asleep. If you're asleep and you get waken up and you're mentally ill and you're seeing things or you're perceiving a threat, you know what I mean? At the same time, there are a lot of cases where you're right. It is intentional, but it's a random person. So it's like whoever comes across me is going to get it. One of those. Yeah. And not just that, but a couple of the other tips with the fat comments. It's a lot. It is a lot. Yep, agree, Sherlock. But at the same time, there's a lot of crazy people out there who have done things like that to people they don't even know. You know, you want to hear one that happened in a home that was technically, I mean, they didn't know the people, yet it was a very personal seeming crime. Look at Charles Manson. Look at the Manson family murders. They wrote pig on the wall in the people's blood. They cut up a pregnant woman. Those people didn't know any of them. They didn't know any of the people in that house. They just knew what Charlie told them to do. So there are crazy people out there who will do things that are horrific and take their time. And the plan was break in, kill people. Yes. But did they personally know them at all? Nope. Nope. So, you know, it's odd. This could fit like 6 different profiles though. So I get, yeah, there are 2 types of intent, I guess. That's what's tricky about this is it could, a lot of people think, oh, it's this one type. No, it fits like 5 or 6 different profiles. And then the peakerism part of it, the whole like dealing with knives, it's so complex to some, but to others, like if it's a hunter, ex-military, someone trained with knives, someone who's an outdoorsman, that can kind of change it up. So this could go a lot of different directions, but what he said there is very important. I think this is so important. Why is the FBI called in typically is very important. The interstate element of it, I agree with that. I think that there was something going on with that. And I do believe that they might have needed help with some geolocation fencing, stuff like that. Let's hear what he said one more time.
Network of agents.
You bring the Bureau in case you think the person has fled interstate. But for them to flee interstate, then honestly, the police must know something about the person to be able to bring that portion of the Bureau to investigate.
And Kopis tells me the FBI can also be called in to assist with hate crime investigations, but he tells me because Georgia now has its own hate crime law on the book locally, he would question whether the FBI would be called in to assist for that reason. Atlanta police have not answered questions of whether they are considering this a hate crime investigation.
Okay.
Emma, I guess I'll just start asking you.
Okay. Now, I do want to back this up one more time with, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Anytime the news puts out a fully unedited interview of someone, like we're going to put out the unedited version, those people tend to catch a lot of shit, and it tends to be for a reason. Leticia Stout, remember? Let me, before we show you this, let me go on a little rant here. I'll keep it brief. Let's go down the list, okay? Christopher Watts, okay? Chris Watts. They put his interview out. People said, there's something weird about this. The news said, word, and they put out the whole unedited interview, okay? Leticia Stout. Oh, her interview with the news seemed weird. Oh, word, click. Here's the whole unedited interview, the unedited, so you can hear everything that she said to the camera guy after. That led to more speculation. Those are cases where these are people who did do it. They did it, and they were weird interviews. They were very weird. They would raise anybody's spidey senses. But then there's a man named Shane from here in Austin. He had a wife who just had their second baby. They didn't have the best dating history. His wife was a woman named Hannah. They didn't have the best history as far as like, was there abuse, emotional and physical? There was emotional. Some people tried to turn it into physical. There were just problems. There were normal problems that can be seen as like not physically, mentally abusive, but it's just people talking shit when they're mad. A guy trying to be a dad and still a little immature. A woman who feels like, you know, you're not doing enough. There was just a lot going on with their dynamic, but they loved each other and they were going through a weird phase. Hannah was pregnant. And her best friend, Megan Faramuska, who lived in Houston, drove down, picked her up one day from her apartment drove back to Houston and stole her baby in the same way Taylor did in New Boston to Reagan Hancock. She took the baby after faking a pregnancy, and this was around the same time. Shane did an interview because everyone was, well, I wouldn't say because everyone was blaming him. Everybody was blaming him, and he worked for a moving company at the time, and he'd been at work. There was just no way he could have done it. And yet he does this interview and he's crying. His eyes are red. He's very upset. And Hannah's friends and family were like, there's something weird about this. And so were other people, that like the general public in Austin and all over the US. But then there were other people who knew Shane and the family and were friends with Hannah who were like, there's no way it's Shane. So they do an interview with him. And when the news does an interview, what do? They do the same thing they did to Watts and Letitia. And they put out the full unedited one. And when people saw that, they're like, oh, they only do this for people who did it. This is weird. Oh, why would he ask the camera person this? He ended up not doing it. It was a woman, but not until after he was harassed, drugged through the mud, treated like shit, accused of murder. People threatened to kill him. He was so worried, like CPS is going to take his other baby, which was left behind. Like he was going through it, and he got blamed for everything. And it was awful. And he had nothing to do with it. But when they put that unedited interview out of him, suspicions went up and people started harassing him. I think that putting out a full unedited interview is a rally call from the media that there's something extra that you should see. It automatically makes people speculate and presume things that might not be true. Emma did her interview. They edited it. It was short, sweet, and within hours, they put out the extended one. And that's when people start shitting all over her. So I think it's important as a society, anybody watching this, please know, if an unedited interview gets put out by the news, that doesn't mean the person is guilty. It's not a rallying cry to shit on them. And I think that the news needs to be more careful with that, because I don't think that they understand how that looks to the public. It's very, very disturbing. Yeah, that one, Cindy, was in Chicago, right? I think that was the Chicago one. That was horrible. And they put that woman in the basement. Ugh. There was a whole lot of cases that happened actually around that time that are just horrific. It was just strange. Anyway, let's go ahead and watch this, the full unedited interview with Emma. I'm only showing it to you because now I want you to know, like, this is a tactic, a technique. And when I worked in media, this is something that you don't do. You never put out unedited material. Them doing that makes it look like they're being transparent, but at the same time, it can be like a little nudge in a certain direction. Like, oh, there's something you need to see here. That's weird. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about them doing that so soon after, but here we are. So let's go ahead and watch this. This is 23 minutes. It's a heavy subject matter. I'm going to let this play through, and I am going to put it at 1.25 because it is kind of a slower pace. Like I said, it's not edited. The little bits that are, it's just like switching of camera angles, stuff like that. So here we go. Boop, boop, boop.
You to just tell me, in the last 24 hours, how do you describe this last day for yourself?
It's hard to describe. Difficult. Unreal. Pretty much.
I feel like you're in a nightmare of some sort.
Yeah, I've said that a couple times. Definitely, it's not set in yet. I don't think completely. Very just sad.
I feel like you're still kind of in shock.
Probably, yeah.
tell me.
Sorry, I won't interrupt it anymore, but I do want to let you know, Cindy, it's actually called fetal abduction, and it's very real. It is something that typically accompanies a form of mental illness, and I don't know the statistics now, but when it happened to Hannah, I remember the statistics at the time. I'm that nosy. I had looked it up. It was something like 40% were from women who can't get pregnant or who desired a child, they didn't find a partner and they couldn't get pregnant because there was no one who would mate with them. And or they have physical limitations and or womb dryness, if you will. They just can't have a baby. That's a pretty good chunk, but a lot of it comes hand in hand with mental illness. There are a couple of older ladies who have done it and they blame empty nest syndrome. So, whew.
Katie is my favorite person in the whole world, without a doubt. I spend all the time with her, and even if like she was at work, that's normal. And if I was at home not without her, I missed her even in those times. You know, I always wanted her to be around. She was funny. She's smart. I always tell people, I'm like, you know, I have random facts I like tell people, but I always learn them from her. She has something new to teach me every day, and that was one of my favorite things about her. Just she's so smart. Like, and I always told her she could have done anything in the whole world that she wanted to do. She could have been anything, but she hated school, so she didn't take that path. But you know, she was charismatic, even if she didn't like to be around everybody all the time. She was very to herself all the time. She liked alone time. So she was a really good person. She never did anything bad to anybody. You know, she was really sarcastic. Maybe had a little bit of dark humor, but I like that about her. We actually met at G's in Midtown. She was a bartender there, and I used to go there all the time when I first moved to Atlanta because I didn't have any friends, and my brother worked there, and so that's how we met. And she always worked the day that I would go up there most of the time. And one day we were both just having drinks together, and she said, "Hey," she knew how to get me. She was like, "You want to come meet my dog?" And I was like, "I do want to come meet your dog." So we went to her house and like hung out with her and her dog. That was pretty much the beginning of everything.
How long ago was that?
Oh, that was a long time ago. Probably 8 years ago, almost 7. We officially we celebrated our 6th year last month. So yeah.
What's your last memory of her? You can talk about like Tuesday night.
I mean, I didn't usually work Tuesday, but I guess we had coffee together in the morning, like we always do, and just said, you know, goodbye. See you later. She came by with a dog because if she's out with the dog and she's over there, she'll always come to say hi, lets me see him, and just, you know, check up on me, see how long I was going to be at work. And, you know, I said, I love you. Be safe. I'll see you later. That was pretty much it.
What made you, you know, say, hey, she's not back yet, and she normally is. What's the routine, and what stood out as not normal?
Well, I didn't get home till about an hour after I saw her, and we live like a mile up the road, so she would have been home by then because she wouldn't have gone much further walking the dog. She doesn't usually stay out that late to walk him. So and if I get home and she's not there, I always call her, you know, just be like, hey, what's your ETA, where you at, whatever. And she didn't answer, and she always answers. So that's when I knew something was really wrong. I called her a bunch of times, she didn't answer. I texted her a bunch, she didn't respond. So I pretty much knew immediately something wasn't right. I didn't know what it was, but I knew something had gone wrong. Yeah, I used the Find My iPhone app. I know of her information. She uses, so I got on there to look for her, and that's what showed me she was at the park. So.
What do you want to say to whoever is out there that did this?
I honestly don't know, but this is the worst thing I could imagine. It's definitely like a horror movie, and Katie didn't deserve to go through what she did. You know, my biggest thing that I've been saying for the past days. Like, it's really sad for me to lose her, but I can't even imagine how scared she was for that to happen. You know, she wasn't an easily scared person. She was very confident. She felt safe being in Midtown, and that in her final moments, like, that was taken from her, and that bothers me the most. And I hope they find them. I hope they get what they deserve too.
All right. Before we go into Papa Joe, I'm going to show you something. And here's why I'm showing it to you first. I want you to see the response others had. I saw someone on Twitter a while back say something interesting about the Karen Reed case. I don't know if they were AFKR or FKR. I don't give a shit. They said something very smart and interesting. And it provoked my thinking to a point where I start doing research. I'm like, I wonder if anyone's ever looked into this, like why this is. Because this is a fascinating, in my opinion, subject matter. It's a rich subject that has to do with processing, like how we process things in our brains, right? This is what they said. They said, and I'm sure that they were saying it to be a little sarcastic. C. Smith, I believe she was like 5'6.5", 5'7". This is what they said. They said, it amazes me how so many people can look at the same trial and the same evidence I'm looking at and have such wildly different opinions on it. I started thinking about that because it is kind of crazy, isn't it? Like, two people see the same evidence, they hear the same story, they're told the same thing, everybody is seeing the same shit, but inevitably you're going to have some people that go, no, I don't feel that way. I don't think so. And then you're going to have some people going, oh yeah, definitely. Why is that? One could argue it's someone's past, someone's experiences. Perhaps it's what they can, their perspective, Sherlock. That's a good point. Yeah, their perspective of it. It can be so different based on all sorts of, are they on drugs? Are they not on drugs? Personal bias is a big one. Are they looking at the person thinking, well, they're not in line with me politically, or they're not the same color I am, or they have this job I don't like, or oh, they're a politician, they're going to think that way, or they're a cop lover, they're going to think that way. Like, everybody puts their personal shit into it, whether you like it or not, subconsciously. And I think that's such an interesting subject matter to explore. But to be honest, there are thousands of reasons people could see things or perceive things differently. Some people might have got, like, okay, I say it every time when I just said it 20 times in the last 2 days to you guys. When people go, knife attacks are personal, I go, I didn't know who fucking did it. I always insert my own shit into it, right? So it's something that I just have a hard time. It's something that I once believed. I agreed with that. Well, all the profilers said that in the 70s, so maybe it still stands strong. But then you see proof, it happens to you, and you're like, nah, it's not always like that. And then your perspective can change. So I think a lot of it has to do with our own personal shit, basically. I want to show you some of the comments below this video because you've all been super fucking respectful. I don't think, I mean, even if you think Emma did it, like, I'm not going to hate you for that. Some people feel that way. But I want you to see the same video we're watching that I personally think is really sad. I think that she's in shock. I agree with some of you guys on, like, you know, maybe even medicated because she's in so much shock. There's something going on where she is still not allowed herself to really process this. She's in the beginning stages of what the fuck just happened. The way she's talking to me, it's not like I can't eat, I can't sleep, like we saw in some of the people who ended up being guilty. It's I just worry that she was scared, like she's thinking about Katie. So let's see how others perceived it. I'm going to show you some of the comments on this, okay? And don't go attack anyone on this. I just want you to see. And I love the first one. This comment section is full of people who don't know how to read body language and facial expressions. This woman is clearly grieving. To me, she appears stunned, traumatized. It's like the light went out in her eyes and she's just trying her best to do the interview. I'm going to give her a like because I actually agree with that. Now, right here, I'm quite surprised to read some of the comments in this interview. My interpretation is very different. Emma sounds like she's in shock. Now, let's go down a little. Very interesting that Katie didn't work that day, and Emma was meant to take her to the airport that night to go visit her mom. Something feels so off. I really wonder if Katie was planning on leaving Emma and was going to wait until she was at her mom's or in person before saying anything, so no one other than Katie and Emma knew that they were breaking up. Where the fuck did you get that, Natalie? Like, you just made up some shit? Maybe they were going to break up. So offensive. If my partner just got murdered and I love them, and I saw someone comment, well, maybe she was going to leave him, I would be fucking furious. People, she's at work. The person that killed Kate. Thank you. Okay. So these are, here we go. I'm glad people have been hosing them. Okay. Some serious body language going on there. The behavior panel would have a field day. Poor Katie and Bowie. Where's this woman's emotion? I think her father was there to only smooth over any mistakes Emma might make and try to help her look better. Just look how he's smiling all through the interview. And neither of them seem to be too upset that their loved one was brutally murdered. She is somehow involved with Katie's murder. Just listen to True Crime Garage Pod. I'm questioning this reaction in this interview. Stabbed over 50 times, the dog was killed too. That's a personal crime of passion, what happened to this Katie, Jeanette. Here's a great example of humanity. She did it. Oh, Blue 9645. Wow. Hey, thanks for that. Hey, thanks. You fucking solved it, bitch. Jesus Christ. Was she given a polygraph? Oh, you mean the thing that's not admissible in court? No. No, she wasn't. Get over it. Things that make you go, IMDb Nicole, your bangs look like shit. Moving on. Why does she smile? Says Mike Vergara. You see what I mean? He's not smiling right there. People are fucking stupid. And Emma did not kill her own dog. Exactly. Bowie was Emma's dog. But Bowie really, really liked Katie, right? I mean, they had, what was it, 2 or 3 dogs? Because the roommate told me I think they had a 3rd rescue dog. And the dogs bonded with the other partner too. The dogs loved these girls. They loved these girls. Katie's dog was much older, like 14, but they both cared for them like they were their children. Yep. They love those dogs. The pictures of them with their dogs are so sweet. You can comment back to them all you want. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Don't threaten their lives on my behalf, please. That's all I'm saying. Or you know what? Fucking go wild. Say whatever you want to those bitches. But the point is, do you see what I mean? How cruel people can be? Now imagine that times 1,000. And then imagine the conspiracy theorist true crime channels getting really heavy into this case. And then imagine the comments under their edited AI videos that take out context. A Wolfgang Bodie situation. This girl, Emma, has been through so much. I have a hard fucking time looking at comment sections for this, but I just want you to see the type of shit people said. It's so cruel. The amount of people who go, oh, the girlfriend did it. Oh, hey, thanks, fucking, oh, thanks, Sherlock, not Sherlock Holmes, but the person who says shit like that, like, oh, thanks. Okay, let's go book him, Dano. What the fuck? People are very stupid. You have to be careful in the world because people are very, very stupid. Very stupid.
Well, the one thing that stands out so much for me in the relationship, and we're extremely close, and Katie made Emma happy. They had a good life together. They've started with nothing. They built on that. They lost their first home in a house fire, and they had to move to where they live now. And but they were so resilient through that process. And Katie, like she said, she was so intelligent. I loved conversation with her because there's several subjects that her and I could talk about, and she always knew the answer, which was awesome. But the way it is affecting Emma through this, I always knew that Emma was safe with Katie, and she protected her. She was. They had such a great relationship that for a parent, if you don't have to worry about your children all the time, which most do, but I knew as long as they were together, I didn't have to worry about
I thought
them.
that was one of the sweetest things. That part made me cry the first time I saw that. Because I was like, this is a good dad. I also love how he looks like Mr. Clean. Also, you can tell this man's been crying. In fact, you can see him cry at the vigil, and yet people want to judge them for not weeping every second, all day, every day. He's not only a good dad, in my opinion, but politically speaking, as a politician, seems like a really fucking smart, good dude. Not well liked enough by other politicians in power to slide him any favors. He tends to go with the underdog and actually fight for real social justice. And even though it's not popular to people who are in the pockets of lobbyists and big government, he sticks with what he believes, and I really like this guy. Also, I put it back at regular speed because Joe tends to talk a little bit faster. Here we go.
And Katie filled that part, just as any life partner does, is someone who she cared so much about Emma, she made sure that Emma was okay. And Emma did the same thing for her. I'm extremely sad because Emma is hurting. And Emma lived here before she and Katie, they were together for a couple of years before they ended up moving in together. So Emma was here, but she drove into Midtown to work every day. And then one day she says, hey, well, Dad, I'm going to move out. Me and Katie are going to move in together. And I thought it was such a great thing for them so they wouldn't have to drive and everything. And they just always had a security about the relationship. In a lot of relationships, people, they think you're going to, they change relationships so often, but they weren't that way. They were dedicated to each other. And so it makes me feel sad that what she's going to miss out on because of it.
I work at Henry's. I've done pretty much everything you can do there, but currently I've just been serving, and then I manage a couple days a week, closing. So.
And so I just wanted to talk about you all's routine, because there's different reports, and I think some of them have been a little inaccurate, so I want to clear it up since I'm talking to you. They said that you all had gone to dinner beforehand. Was that not the case? Or
No.
You had been at work.
I was at work, yeah.
And she stopped by your job to say, hey, before she went out walking the dog.
Yeah.
Did she work that day?
She didn't work that day. I don't normally work that day, but she was supposed to go out of town today to go see her mom. She's supposed to fly to Michigan to see her mom. She hadn't seen her in a while. So I worked that day so that I could take her to the airport. And yeah, I was at work really late. We have some new people, and things are just taking longer, so I was there really way later than usual. So we did not go to dinner. No.
Did you anticipate that she would be out that late, or curious why?
She always walks the dogs late. We both work at night, so we're always up during the evenings. Like normally we don't get up until afternoon normally, like 1 o'clock. And then, we don't get our day started. We don't go to work until 4 at the earliest normally. So yeah, usually, we'd get home from work and she would walk the dog. Usually I wouldn't be off yet, so she would leave before I got home, and she would usually be back about when I got home, or a little bit after. So, I mean, it was normal for her to, you know, like I saw her at 11:30. That in Midtown, like that's not really that late. There was still a bunch of people around. Even like right up the street, there was, you know, that's where Blake's is, and geez, and there were tons of people around. She always goes out. I know that she didn't normally go like through the park. I don't think like she did sometimes, but she always took different routes. She like knowing the neighborhood. She knew every part of Midtown, so she could go anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I've never had a problem. You know, I always told people like, because a lot of people be like, oh, you know, it seems like you're a woman walking alone or like whatever. And I was like, yeah, I mean, the most I've ever had, like, I have homeless people come up to me and ask me for money, but generally they're harmless people. You know, you give them $1, you say no, and you move on. Nobody's ever really given us a problem, ever. So.
This isn't just shocking to you, it's shocking to the whole community. There's so many people out there right now dropping off flowers for her and you. And is it Bowie or Bowie?
Bowie. He named after David Bowie.
Okay.
That's like
Bowie was
one of
her baby.
Katie's favorite musical artists.
They dropped off dog treats,
Yeah.
a card, and Katie and Bowie. So there's a vigil tonight.
Mhm.
People are sending prayers to you all. What do you want to say to the community?
Everybody's been really nice, and I'm thankful for people reaching out. You know, it's actually pretty overwhelming. So, a lot of people have donated money, and I'm happy because I know her mom doesn't have the money to take care of everything, and neither do I. So that was really overwhelming to see how much people were giving. So we don't have to worry about that right now. You know, Katie always sent her mom money to help with her bills, and I know she needs the help.
This may be a difficult question, but when you saw your phone page of Piedmont Park, did anything stand out to you as concerning then, or did you leave, or what happened then when you said Piedmont Park?
I'd already left my house, so I was just going down the street that I would think she would be near. I was just gonna ride around where I thought she would be, and because I couldn't get it to ping right away, and when it did, the first thing I noticed is that it wasn't moving, and I was like, she wouldn't just be stopped somewhere, like she wouldn't sit somewhere and like she was with the dog, she's just gonna walk with the dog. She didn't like hang out anywhere when she did that. So that was the first thing I noticed. I thought maybe she had just like dropped her phone somewhere and didn't notice, or you know, I didn't know what to think about it, but I knew it was.
You know, I missed that part of the interview. I don't remember that part. And I've seen this a million times. It never clicked. Holy shit. It's actually a good point. Because I've always wondered since this happened, like, just why would anybody stay stationary when they're walking a dog unless the dog's making a poopies or a peepees, right? But to be still for that long period, like, I was thinking, what would I think if I traced Dylan's iPhone because he didn't come home? What would I think? Like, if it's just still and it's not moving, I would immediately be like, oh shit, like, you know, he's been murdered. Like, that's how I think. Probably from being true crime adjacent so much. But Emma makes a good point. Like, did she drop her phone and leave it somewhere? I never even thought of that. That's actually a really great possibility. That's kind of the point of Find My iPhone, is in case you drop it or leave it behind or it's stolen, right? Fascinating stuff. Huh. It's actually a really great point. I think she's very smart. I did not even think of that. And it's the most obvious thing, and I didn't even think of that. Great point, girl.
Strange.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. I guess I want to wrap up soon and just ask if you could think about what she would want people to say or remember about her. She might not have been the most outgoing or extroverted person,
Yeah.
but how would she want to be remembered?
if she wasn't really extroverted, but everybody knew her. Like she knew a ton of people, but she's worked in Midtown and lived there for 11, 12 years, I think. So she knew a lot of people, and honestly, Katie probably wouldn't care what people said, or she probably wouldn't want the attention. She didn't like attention. She was from the North, so she always thought Southern people were like over extra friendly, and she thought it was really weird. When she first moved here, she got a little more used to it. She still would be like, you know, a head nod's good enough for her if somebody wanted to acknowledge her on the street or something, you know. But so honestly, she probably wouldn't care too much. I know that she knew people cared about her, and she had a lot of friends, and those people, I know they'll remember her fondly because she never gave anybody a reason not to. You know, she was never hurtful or did anything to make anybody think less of her. I don't think.
I'm going to go back on that question. It's really hard to hear the reporter, and I apologize for that. I'm going to try to turn it up a little more. I have to say, I got kind of the total opposite from Katie, in my opinion, but I don't know her, so I'm going to trust Emma. But I always thought, because she is a performer and a musician, and everyone who talks about her is like, she's great at talking. We love the bartender. We love hearing her talk. She always has great stories. In my head, I pictured her when I first saw the case as like, when I think of performer, I think performative, and I think really into social interaction and outgoing. But at the same time, you know, she's from the North. So social and outgoing in the North is way different than the South. Yeah, she is more reserved, isn't she? Like she's willing to put herself out there, but like in ways that aren't like, look at me, look at me. It's more of like, I'm playing music, and if you happen to come around, good. Introspective and intelligent is a great way to say it. What was I saying earlier? It was introvertive, like introvert. I felt like Emma was more of an introvert, but it seems like they're both a little more introverted and reserved, but Katie's more of like a talker to people she knows, you know? And I just like the whole example of a head nod's good enough for her. I feel like she would fit in the South perfectly. That's what people do at every stop sign. You give the nod of the head, you know? Yeah, I think that too. I think it's something about service industry too, because I used to be like that. Like I could go up to a table and be like, "Hi, well, quesadilla explosion salad. You want some? Welcome to Chili's." But then like you go in and yes, I worked at a Chili's for a summer. But then you go in the back of the house and it's like you're just silent because you're like, I have to talk to these people up front all the time. Anyway, not to be confused with me, a pervert. Satan.
Did anything to make anybody think less of her? I don't think.
They're from Atlanta, Georgia. She's saying, is there anything else that you want to say or add that we didn't go over? Just a heads up. I know it's hard to hear the interviewer.
Guess I don't really have much. It's been really hard for me to think late the last 30 something hours. So, you know, she was a good person. I want them to figure out who did this because she didn't, like I said, she didn't deserve it, and I hate it. I hate it for her that she had to go through that. So.
Well, Emma's being really modest on the talents that Katie had. She was also a songwriter, self-taught musician, guitar collector, book collector. She was a pretty highbrow person. Even if somebody said, oh, she's a bartender, well, the bartender behind that bar probably had the highest IQ in the room. She just recently wrote several songs, and she shared them over social media and things, and they were beautiful songs, and they were about life. And she was just, Katie did not expect a lot.
She was great at writing music, for sure.
She didn't expect praise from anyone or anything. She was her own person who she loved to share that music, though, when she was finished with it. And I used to love getting them. And it was satisfaction enough for her just that if one person liked it.
Yeah, she definitely always said like she'd love to make money making music, but she did it for
God damn it. Every time. This was within 24 hours. So the timeline is this. And I agree, he beams with pride talking about Katie. He's even said like she was like my other daughter. She was my other daughter. And keep in mind she's from up in the Michigan area. So she moved to Atlanta and was there sending money back home to Michigan because, you know, her family was in an unfortunate circumstance and she was helping support her mother and her Katie's dad and stepmom, I believe, were in. I'm not sure if the stepmom ended up getting out or not, but they were in prison for some other shit. And it was a sad situation. And she meets the love of her life and they're together for many years and they're living in Atlanta, and Joe was like her second dad, and they got along really well because they talked about politics and they talked about social justice. They talked about protesting. He beams. He fucking loved Katie just like he loves Emma, and you could tell he's very supportive. Everything that I found on social media or that was public that had interactions between any of these people involved, and I say involved like in the situation, not like they did it, just to be clear. Anybody who knew Katie or was super close to her, you can see their interactions online. Like she loved Joe, she loved Emma, and they loved her. And it was just it's so sweet to see him being a supportive dad through this tough time. But yeah, it's interesting because Katie's not in a place where she grew up, you know, and she's in a new place. She's trying to live in a new city, and within a few years she's got a partner and she's got a parental figure, a father figure even, that is indulging her on her talent and being super supportive, and they have so much in common. I have yet to see Joe say a negative thing about her. Now, here's something to consider. This crime happened at 1 a.m., right? So the crime happens. They're processing the scene. Joe drives from out of town to be with Emma immediately, and he's on the scene while the police are still canvassing it at 3 or 4 in the morning. And you can see him on the footage. He shows up and he's like, what the fuck happened? He's clearly worried. They took Emma, obviously, for questioning. Okay. So by the time that wraps up, it's probably 4 or 5 in the morning. Then she's got the news, everyone on social media, like, are you okay? What happened to Katie? Is it true? The news is airing it. Now every news station in the country is trying to contact Emma and Joe, trying to get a quote. Can we get an interview? Blah, 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 blah. She ends up going with her dad out of town, I guess, and the dogs to where he lives. They have to go back so that Joe can do the vigil and Emma can, I'm assuming, grab some stuff, and then boom, another interview. Like, I don't think she slept. I don't think she's gotten any sleep. You know what I mean? So to me, like, she looks exhausted also. And that's got to be tough. You know, eventually you're so spent and you're so exhausted that you know, being asked questions like, well, can you think of any good interview questions I should ask you? I would be like, no. You know, a lot of people gave her shit for that. Oh, there's nothing you want to add? Like, the girl's probably fucking tired. She probably hasn't gotten any sleep, not to mention what she just saw. She just saw the most traumatic thing, something that I don't think any of us have ever seen. And I can't imagine that. Like, they don't even put that type of shit in films anymore. They might put them in. There's maybe a couple, maybe less than a handful of films that would dare put the type of shit that happened to Katie in it, even the worst horror films. So I can't imagine what this girl is thinking. You know what I mean? Ooh.
Her emotional well-being, she liked to just, she's a creative person, she liked to do it. You know, we painted for fun. She always wanted to play chess, board games. She's very intellectual and creative. So I think she grew up in Berkeley. I'm not super familiar with that area.
But she was here from Michigan about a little over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we hear some music, or you tell me what you feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah, I mean, you can listen to it. I'm sure she'd love. She wanted people, like, I shared it on Facebook and stuff, and I'd be like, she'd be like, "Oh, I got this many listens," and she's like, "It's."
Here's another thing I want to point out. If we're going to go the behavioral analysis angle, people saying that they smile. Oh, she smiled. How dare she? This is the first time we've seen her smile, and we are 18 minutes into a 23-minute video. And at what point does she smile? She smiles when they talk about Katie's music. And would Katie, can you play some for us? Like, that is, I'm proud of my partner, and that's exactly what Katie would have wanted. That's beautiful. Like, of course she's smiling. She's having a positive memory of this person who she just lost. Let her have a brief smile, for fuck's sake, you know?
Be like 12 people. It's not a lot, but it was. She was like, "It's more than I thought. They'll do it." So it always made her really happy. Oh, it's on SoundCloud, so I would have to.
Is it a video or just?
Now I'm going to pause for a second because this is a fear of mine, and it happened after this video. I hope this isn't inappropriate to say. I know this is a serious subject matter, but I feel for Emma the most right here in this very moment. When I was getting interviewed by the press, they asked if they could see some comedy, and I'm like, oh, fuck, well, I got to download this app, and I freaked out, and I was like, no, like, no, you can't. Bye. Like, I just did it. They edited all of that out because I was like, literally for 6 minutes while they're filming, I'm just sitting there going through my phone like, I gotta delete these pictures so that I can fit this app in so that I can get to the comedy. I'm so sorry. And they're just like, you know what, just fucking give it up. So I can imagine you've been through everything she's been through, and now she's got to download SoundCloud Go and get through all the pop-ups. Jesus Christ, poor Emma. Like, poor girl, dude. But I feel for that. If you ever, if anything tragic ever happens to you and the news comes knocking at your door, leave plenty of room on your phone for any necessary downloads you need to make during an interview, because that shit will catch you off guard. And yeah, I feel for her for this too. Jesus.
They're all just audios. Let's see. Actually, I have the app because I downloaded the app so that I could follow her. Yeah, I was like, you at least have me following you. She had a few followers. Do you have a specific song she wanted?
Whichever one you thought she might have been proud of, or one that you really liked.
Oh, she had a few really good ones. Let me see. Gotta press on her actual thing. I don't know how to work this thing. Her favorite one is really long, but it's
play like the chorus or the intro.
She was always really I just want to say this before I play this song because it's a little bit political, but she felt very strongly in like her views, but she was always really nice about it. Like, she's the kind of person, like, I know that she would tell me about regulars she had at the bar that would disagree with her on things, and she would just try to change their minds little by little. And like every time she saw them, she always talked about the next time they come in, I'm gonna talk to them about this. And
that's what I loved about her, because her and I are the same politically and everything we do.
So she always
we
wanted.
would one-on-one. We would get people, you know, because
she always wanted to.
She's a big
change people's minds.
She's a big social justice person.
Yeah.
Does it have the graph?
It does. Well, it's showing an ad right now because it's
Does it have to make money?
right.
And before they play Katie's song, I want to point something else out here. Do you see how Emma's still wearing the wedding ring? Believe it or not, there are cases like Watts and a couple of others where they put out full interviews, or not even a full interview, just a normal interview, and someone has passed away and that wedding ring is fucking gone. A lot of the times I've noticed it's with the guilty people, the people who did it. She's still wearing hers. That to me says more about Emma hasn't even dealt with or like, I mean, I would personally never take it off, but like, are you okay? But that's just something I want to note, because there have been a few where the partner did something really bad or ended the life of their partner, and then that thing's gone if it was ever on at all. So points for Emma for that, because it's like, to me, that says a lot. That says a lot.
She did. She stood up for what she believed, and she tried to promote that through her music. She, social justice was a huge thing for her. Katie always believed that everyone on earth was equal, and she wanted to make sure that everyone had that opportunity to be equal. And that's the music she wrote, about telling the truth about what it's like.
Yeah. She did everything herself. She's a one-man band. She had friends that she had been in bands with, and she was going to see them while she was in Michigan and play some of the music with them. So she was very excited about that.
Just days away from the third somber anniversary of the murder of Katie Janness and her dog Bowie here. The two were found brutally stabbed to death inside.
So this is the third anniversary. So this is more recent. You're going to see this, and then I'm going to show you the map that I made. And then, oh no, Mookie's. Hey, Mookie's is dragging his butt on the carpet again. Can you, Mookie, don't spin in a circle, honey. Come here. I'm going to let this play. Let me go wipe my dog's ass. I'll be right back.
At a Piedmont Park, person responsible still on the run.
We thank you for your patience. This is going to take time.
It's been 1,095 days since the horrific murder of Katie Janness and her dog Bowie. The two were found stabbed just inside Piedmont Park around 1 a.m. July 28th near 10th Street and Charles Allen Drive by her partner, Emma Clark.
It runs through my head constantly now. That's all I see. Ran over to her, and I put my hands on her face, and I checked for a pulse, but you could tell that she was not alive.
3 years later, Atlanta police have no arrest, announced any persons of interest, or released any possible motives. Since then, the city has upgraded security camera systems and worked to integrate them into a larger database.
So we are assessing a number of leads at this point in time. As the chief has indicated, we do believe that this investigation is moving in the right direction.
It is a murder mystery that has captivated the nation. An autopsy revealed Janness suffered more than 50 stab wounds to her face, neck, and torso. The letters F-A-T were carved into her body.
I think any updates would be well received by the community.
We talked with those in the park, like Cindy, who lived nearby when it happened.
It was really disturbing that it happened in my neighborhood. And, I had an older dog. I was often out with my dog at nighttime.
As time ticks on, Atlanta police say they are still on top of the case.
Just not being able to call any family members to say, we got it. So that tells us that our job, especially the homicide unit, is not done.
Now, I did reach out to Atlanta police yesterday. They declined an on-camera interview. They did send a short statement saying the case is still open and active as this investigation continues. If you know anything that can help crack this case, come forward. Of course, you can remain anonymous.
All right, let's pull that down. What lovely eyes on that newscaster. Love the eyes. Okay, let's see. Here's what I'm going to show you first. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you this map I made. And then tomorrow we're probably going to go bullet by bullet. We're going to look through all the, we're going to finish it off tomorrow. We're going to do part 3. We're going to look through some dossiers, if you will. Tonight, what I want to do is I'm going to show you kind of like a, well, I'm going to show you the map that I made of the tips that we talked about that have yet to be called in properly. I'm going to show you the evidence to back up those tips, at least most of them. And then tomorrow night, we're going to talk about some of the unique things in this case that could still possibly be done. I'd like to get some perspective. If I have to move it from tomorrow night to next week to do something I'd like to do, I might have to do that. But I am going to reach out to Duty Ed and possibly Duty Ron to see if they would like to come on and give perspective for the 3rd episode. But tonight, I want to go through that map. Now, this is not a crime map specific to incidents that involve stabbing necessarily, incidents where anyone even got murdered. These are more situations involving someone threatening a dog and or a woman within that time frame, and it's going to show you exactly where it happened and the date. And also, these are incidents that were tipped in as potential leads that nobody returned calls on, and then I tried to help and do the same, couldn't get a response back, and I think they're very important. And I'm also going to show you one extra thing we talked about yesterday, because I had to make sure it was public first, and then one of them is an anonymous participant, but it lines up with some of the things said by other people. So if I see someone post something as if they have insider knowledge and it's before that knowledge is released, and then the knowledge gets released and we find out it matches up, I'm going to go back and see, did this person say anything else? So I'm going to show you that. So let's start with this. This is the map I made, and I am going to disable the comments on the bottom right so that you can see. It's a little bit difficult to see, I'm sure. If you were on a big screen, it's going to be much easier. But I think it's good enough to where you can get the general idea. So this incident right here, this is Piedmont Park, okay? Right here. This is the entrance where Katie and Bowie entered. This is 10th Street and Charles Allen. So they entered going this way up through the gates, all right? Their bodies were found right here where the star is. Now I'm going to show you exactly what that spot looks like in a minute. But first, you just need to know this is where Katie and Bowie entered the park. Okay. This is where the bodies were found, very, very close to the entrance. So now let's look at these incidents. What happened to Katie was in July of 2021. Okay. It was late July. It was technically July 28th. Okay. So over here, we're going back to 2018 because this is the first incident that I could find that matches the situation via threats. Did this woman get stabbed and mutilated like Katie? No. But I am going to show you what did happen to her because I think it's very important. So let me just open this up real quick, and I'm going to take the map down for one moment so that you can see what I'm talking about. So this is on October 14th, 2018. I had misread it. I just want to correct. I think I had said on this one it was within a few months of the crime before. That was this one. I just got them mixed up. That's my bad. But just to correct the record, let me show you this news article. So, and here's the reason why this is here, because not only does it involve threats to a dog, it involves threats to a woman. It is in that area. It is Fox Theater, which is down by the Vortex, which is actually where I was when I did comedy, where that guy got stabbed across the street by the Starbucks, I think. I believe it was a Starbucks at the time. It was pretty close. But yeah, this happened right there. It is walking distance to Piedmont Park, and I know that because I walked it. So here, let me show you what happened. This is in 2018. And the other reason I'm showing this to you is because the person involved matches the description in some of the other things I'm going to show you. Okay. So let me make this big. All right. Atlanta man attacks dog and threatens owner in unprovoked incident. Okay. Atlanta police are on the lookout for a suspect who allegedly kicked an area woman's dog before threatening to harm her and rip the dog's head off. I was shocked and I was terrified. I felt so unsafe, dog owner Amy Goggins told Fox 5 reporters, adding that the incident happened around 9:30 a.m. So this is early morning, 9:30 a.m. Not super early, but early morning, which lines up with a lot of the other situations we'll talk about on Sunday, October 14th, in front of Fox Theater on Peachtree Street in Midtown Atlanta. Goggins said that as she and her pet were walking down the sidewalk, out of nowhere, a stranger kicked her dog in the head. My reaction was to start screaming and crying, and he started threatening us. He said he would hurt me, and the next time he saw me, he would rip the dog's head off, the woman said. Goggins insisted the attack was completely unprovoked. My dog and I were just walking and minding our own business, and the dog was right in front of me. He wasn't in this man's path, or he wasn't barking at him or anything, she said. The Atlanta woman called police immediately after the alleged attack. She said her 6-year-old Pomeranian mix was fortunate to only suffer minor bruises and avoid serious injury. Goggins added the encounter has left her more anxious. It caused me to be more vigilant of where I walk and who I pass, Goggins said. The incident has put other area dog walkers on alert. Getting hit or beat or taken advantage of by some random person is very concerning, Janness Register told Fox 5 reporters. Goggins has posted on social media about the frightening encounter and hopes spreading the word will keep people safer. Being more aware, having a better sense of awareness, just making sure you look around, advised Register. Goggins worries that the man who allegedly kicked her dog may be suffering from mental health issues. What did we talk about earlier? Yesterday, we talked about that being a big possibility. I feel sorry for him to know what kind of state he might be in to do this kind of thing, and I hope that we can find help for him, she said. The suspect remains at large. And yes, assholes kick animals. They're pieces of shit. Here's something that I would discourage it because it's hard on the heart and the soul, but it's something that I try to do and it's just very hard to get through. It makes me sad. Looking up cases in Atlanta where dogs were stabbed and charting and mapping them. I am not halfway through and I have over 45 pinged on a map. And the stuff that I was reading, and those are just from like 3-year time span, was so disturbing and sad, but almost across the board, almost every single person had some form of diagnosed mental illness. And it wasn't like a fear of dogs. It wasn't something basic like I'm afraid of dogs. No, no, no. It was like extreme mental illness. And in one case, it was a guy who videotaped himself doing awful things just to get back at an ex who had a history of threatening animals. Another guy who mumbled to himself and would just attack random strangers. A guy who carried around a knife and only focused on animals. A guy who killed his neighbor's dog while on a walk. A woman who killed her neighbor's dog while on a walk. A woman who killed her neighbor's dog just because she didn't like the dog and it was barking at her and she perceived it as someone sent by the government to get her roped into some form of Nazism. And the list goes on and on. Some of the most disturbing ones I'm not going to tell you about, but I can tell you this much. Very few of them go unprosecuted. And people have no fucking shame when they are in the throes of mental illness. So many of them film it and send it to others as a threat. That is the common pattern and trend that I saw. The other is that when it is stranger and it is a threat, even if they lunge or even if they kick the dog, very rarely do those get prosecuted. It's the ones who actually complete the task. And I wouldn't recommend charting or trying to map that because there's just so many. I don't know that it's going to be a useful tool, but I think focusing on that area could. However, if we consider that the person likely fled the state, maybe it's pointless. I don't know. I just wanted to get some insight on that. So just a heads up, one would think like, well, how many people can be out there doing this thing to dogs, stabbing dogs? Well, it turns out a fuckload in Atlanta. So hide your dogs, take good care of them, carry around a weapon because what the fuck? Anyway, let's move on. We're almost done. So back to the map. So that's the first incident that happened. You can see it's literally boop, boop. You're at Piedmont. So it's right there. Now let's move up to 2019. So now we're 2 years before or 3 years before. Myrtle Street Peeper reports. This is a guy who is a peeping Tom targeting young women in Midtown. He focuses on Myrtle Street and he has gone from 2019 until today, until last week. He is still peeping in the area. He fits the description of other, literally all the others you see. But there's a peeping Tom. Now, what do we know about peeping Toms? They can escalate, and they often escalate to something violent if they go unchecked. He also has extreme mental illness, according to some people who have commented that they know this guy on an Instagram post where they are searching for the peeping Tom. Him looking in this window is not nearly as aggressive as the full video. I will put a link to that when I put all of that up, okay? So this is still happening, but this started in 2019. Now, as you see, Myrtle Street and 10th, this goes all the way up because he has been reported down here to North Avenue and all the way up to 10th Avenue, and even back looping around down this street. So, or down this little street on the side, parallel. So this is very common. He's still out there. They still haven't caught him. And it's a concern, I think. Okay. So 2018, guy kicks dog in the head and threatens a woman. 2019 to present, we have a peeping Tom right here. All right. And now let's go here. If you see this date and go, wow, that looks very familiar. That's because that's the day that shit happened to Katie. That's the day Katie died. Okay. But we're not going to get there yet. We're going to go here because this is 6 weeks before Katie and her dog were killed. A man threatened me and my dog. Now, she originally put a belt line, and on the belt line near 5 Points, I spoke to this woman personally. Me and her talked for a couple of weeks, and we figured out exactly where she was when it happened by looking at a map. Now, like she says, I'm not from Atlanta, and I don't know if that is near Piedmont Park. Once we figured out the exact area she was in, the exact building she was in front of when her incident happened, okay, we figured out that it was actually right here by Orange Theory Fitness, which is also very, very close to the park. So it's along 10th Street, okay? And then you have Peachtree, you have Piedmont, you have Peachtree Street and Peachtree Place. There's different ones. Now, she exactly was right here, and we know that based on a building that she described to me. I showed her a picture. She's like, yes, this is it. Okay, so this is why it is charted here and why I've blotched this out and put 10th and Peachtree, because this is where me and her personally looked and found exactly where she was standing, 10th and Peachtree, okay? So ignore Beltline. She just had it wrong because she's not from the area. He said repeatedly that he was going to stab my dog. I tried to report it and no one cared. I called twice after she died and no one cared. I called twice today and no one cared. Not once would anyone even take my name or number. This case is not a priority for Atlanta police, I guess. I am so sorry. And then she goes on and on. So this is 6 weeks before. Actually, I should change the date for her because it was actually within 3 weeks before, but we'll fix that later. So right here, a couple weeks before, guy threatens to kill a woman and her dog, says some very foul shit, calls her names. Let's just say that. Calls her some names that are very similar to some of the things, some of the names used in Katie's case. So after I spoke to her, I said, well, do you want me to help assist you in calling in this tip? Do you want me to try to get a hold of someone? Sure. Couldn't do it. Couldn't get anyone to call me back. This was, I believe, a day after a press conference begging for the public's help. So I found that very shitty. She's still open to talking to any agents. They just have not gotten back to her. So now we're going to move to the morning of. Okay. Now this is her old roommate. I have a friend that was out, and this is 7:28:21 early a.m. So prior to 9 a.m., I believe. I have a friend that was out and about walking a dog before Katie was murdered. And this friend, by the way, of the old roommates, this friend actually knows Katie and Emma personally too. When he found out what happened to them, that friend freaked the fuck out, immediately called Atlanta PD, kept trying to call. They never got back to him. And he and a friend, or they got his name and number, never called him back. He and a friend witnessed a crazy man near the federal building. This man was yelling at my friend about his dog and making no sense. So after finding out about Katie, whom he knew well, he calls the FBI. Tells whoever he talked about what happened, and he needed to talk to an agent. They said one would contact him, and did they? No. It blows my mind. I'm of my opinion that's a lead. How is this guy not a suspect? Two people can or could describe him. What he was saying and wearing, and all the witnesses here is an agent will contact you, and still no agent. What the fuck? Who's in charge? I think my friend even called back and still hasn't heard from anyone. Ridiculous. Please share this group with your friends list. Okay. So that's the morning of that happens by the federal building. So I got him to tell me who the friend was. I reached out to the friend and they assured me, yes, we saw that. Sent him some pictures of this fella and the descriptions that this lady gave me. And he said, sounds about like that guy. Couldn't get anyone to call either of us back. So confirmed, he tried, couldn't get a response. So now we're going to move forward to this person. Same day, 8:53 a.m. See how this guy, it happened right here. Now, just a few blocks away, this woman sees a guy who this person confirmed matches this description. Aggressive man threatening to kill my dog and I, 8:53 a.m., the morning of when Katie got attacked. Has any other woman while walking her dog came across this man? Goes on and on about how he called her names. Again, similar names to what we heard here. Okay. And a little of what we heard here and what we heard here. She maintains that this guy not only threatened to kill her and her dog, he followed her down the street. She had to hide behind a CVS. She had to hide from him because she was so intimidated and scared. And he just kept threatening her, saying, I'll fucking kill you, you fat fucking bitch. I'll kill your dog. Shit like that. Okay? So right here, this fella, that morning, shortly after this sighting, okay, and a couple of weeks after this sighting, and a couple of years after this sighting, and during this shit, all of them have similar characteristics. Oh, you can't see the cursor? Fuck. Well, we're talking about the one in the top left corner. I wish it could show it. But if you look at the one in the top left corner, where it says threats to kill dog, 8:53 a.m., that was the last one. So that one in the 7:28:21 early a.m. in the middle on the left, going down with the bracket, those two happened that morning, and then Bowie is dead with Katie 12 hours later, 14 hours later. So this is a problem to me. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if you count the peeper, 6 very concerning and similar situations. Now, did the peeper ever target a dog? No, but he targeted young women, and he does fit the description of this person. And it has been up and down the street, same area. I find it a bit concerning. So, with that said, this is a bit of a problem, and I don't know why they will not take the tip. I don't know why they will not call people back. Now, here's another interesting thing, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Anonymous participant in the solution to the Katie Janness case. This was September 26th at 10:07 a.m. Hello, everyone. My boyfriend was working at Piedmont Park as the security guard on duty the evening of the murder. Before he came in, the guard who was working the shift before him told him to bring his gun. They're not supposed to carry, but he did sometimes on the low. Okay. Because there was a suspicious vehicle parked at the maintenance building. For reference, this is the building where the security golf carts and stuff are stored. It's quite far from where the murder occurred, like a mile walk or something. Anyway, usually clocked in around 11, I believe. Then started his rounds, essentially going around to different areas of the park and scanning like a little QR code on his phone that shows he visited the area. That night, he forgot his headphones, so he was a little behind on doing his rounds. They were never strict on when he did them, just that he got them done during a shift. He decided to grab some headphones from the gas station along with some Popeyes while he was out. Good choice. Popeyes is delicious. And decided to quickly eat in the boathouse building before starting his rounds. That is the first place on his list. We believe this is when the murder occurred. After eating, he starts his rounds. The area where the murder occurred was one of the locations on his rounds. He made his way around the park until he saw a line of cop cars and asked what was going on. They asked, "Did you hear anything about this?" He's like, "About what?" That's when he noticed the body. He said it was unrecognizable, covered in dark blood, and he didn't see the dog. That's because Bowie was a bit of the ways up. So I believe her. And here's why. Not just that, a couple of things. This person posted in a couple of different forums, same story, weeks apart. The first one I saw, they were concerned that he didn't really get questioned. They're just like, "Did you see anything?" And then that was it. One confirmation that I think is interesting is black hatchback. Apparently that was the vehicle that was parked outside the building that was suspicious. So now we're going to look at this. So under ATL Scoop in Piedmont Park, Atlanta, yes, it is a blurry picture. You just see a tree and you see, I mean, it's really hard to see anything. But this person posted, and this is, by the way, this is a while back. This is an old screenshot. Okay, see how it says July 28th? So I drove past last night around 11 p.m. and saw a black Toyota hatchback with no one inside parked on the sidewalk near the park entrance. Pretty significantly earlier than the attack took place, but still odd considering the rest of the park and surrounding roads appeared empty. A black Toyota hatchback with no one inside parked on the sidewalk near the entrance. Now, what's interesting is if you read the other girl whose boyfriend was a security guard, who, by the way, posted this, these were all taken screenshots I took a long time ago, who posted this in September, that lines up quite well, actually, with this. Now, in the comments, talks about a black vehicle, specifically a hatchback. So we have a black Toyota parked on a sidewalk, which is weird as fuck, hours before, and then it just disappears around the time of the murder. That's pretty weird. Another woman was kidnapped from the area and murdered, but they found out who did it, and it was a boyfriend, and there was no evidence of, I believe it was a boyfriend. It was somebody obsessed with her. It might have been like someone who claimed they were her boyfriend. I'll hesitate to speak on that until I confirm, but there were a couple of different murders that happened in the area and one that happened in another park that actually had nothing to do with this. What I also found interesting is there was the young man who was lynched that Satan was talking about. That young man was found hanging by the Nelson Mandela statue. Just a little bit past that is where this happened to Katie. It's very, very odd how close it was, but Bowie was found a ways up. Okay. So now what I'm going to show you guys is I'm going to show you, where is it? Where is it? I want to show you the specific area. Hold on. I think I have it. Or you know what? We'll do that tomorrow. I think I'll do that with you tomorrow because I want to walk you through on the maps. I'm going to show you exactly where the body landed, where it all happened, and you're going to get to see the park a little bit. I'd like to also do that walkthrough, hopefully, if Ed can come on with him. But yeah, it's very strange to me that we haven't really seen any updates, obviously, but it's even stranger that all these people on that map I showed you with a very similar story of it's unique for a stranger to threaten to stab your dog in one small area that many times with similar language. Yeah, they were talking about it like it was a suicide, but a lot of people maintain that it wasn't because of the presence of a KKK rally that was happening like earlier that day. And here's another thing. It was a guy from New Jersey who had mental health issues. So, I don't know what they ended up finally determining. The cops said it could be a suicide, and then people maintained it was a lynching, and then they were just kind of like, nah. And then they just put out the guy's name and info. There's also a couple of other cases. We're going to talk about the surrounding cases at another time. They don't really have as much in common, in my opinion, as the threats that were made by this rogue stranger in the area that seems to be the exact same description. But I do find it all to be very interesting that regardless of what you thought you saw, what you did see, how much evidence you have, if there's pictures, if you were physically there, if you were someone threatened, you don't get a call back. Yet they're on TV asking for help from the public, but they don't call people in the public back. It just blows my mind. Anyway, I think we're going to wrap it up for today because we have a whole lot more to get to, and it's going to require quite a bit of time, but I would also like to have a co-pilot with me when that happens who can kind of guide me through some specifics that maybe I'm not noticing, especially when it comes to like crime scene analysis. I think that hopefully Ed can come on and then we can get some insight from him. But we're going to do what we did yesterday, and we are going to end with one of Katie's songs, okay? If it doesn't freeze. Thank you for not freezing. Here we go. We're going to end with one of Katie's songs because I really respect what Emma said. She said, Katie would have wanted people to, listen to her music and to enjoy it. And it's like, okay, well, then we'll freaking do that. We'll give her that because it's the least we can do. And I do dig it. I think that her music is really good. It's very 90s garage sound to me. And I enjoy it. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you. This is actually the victim in the case. This is her music. And let me pull up her channel. We'll do a different song, though, because yesterday we heard this one called Swimming. So today we'll pick another song from Katie. And my mouse is dying. That's why I can't load anything. Everything is dying. Here we go. Mouse is back to life, plugged in. Perfect. Never get yourself a rechargeable mouse. Just get batteries and keep them on hand because the constant charging it's tough. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and play this. This is an indie rock song by Katie. Oh God. Sorry, that was so loud, and that is not even her freaking song. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that scared the shit out of me. Okay, here we go. Let me share the screen. And the good night, and I love you all. Justice for Katie and Bowie. Here we go.
Thinking about Michigan and family. My first band and everything that takes you away. Takes you away. Takes you many